Thank you very much, Sarah. So it's very nice to be here and very nice to see you all. I'm going to make a case for Ella from Ella on the Outside. Um, and I've thought a little bit about what part of my story I want to use, and I'm going to read you a couple of extracts from Ella on the Outside as part of this. But I'm just going to give you the background if you didn't know the story of Ella on the Outside, because I think one of the things about the empathy process with this character is that they're not necessarily showing the empathy right from the start of your story. They might build it, and you might show the challenges that they face, and in fact you might show them showing a lack of empathy in parts of the story. And I think that's a really important part of this, that you're showing a character developing empathy. So that's just a thought I had while I was creating this. So Ella's a new girl in school. She makes a huge mistake in choosing the popular girls as friends. Their ringleader, Lydia, pressurizes Ella to spy on a quiet girl in their class, Molly Gardner. When she sneaks inside Molly's house, Ella's appalled to discover that Molly's mum is seriously ill and that Molly has been caring for her. She's truly sorry for the spying, and she stands up to Lydia. She and Molly become friends, but this is a slow process. Ella knows she has hurt Molly, and it's hard to build back trust. So in this scene from chapter 25, Molly is now staying at Ella's house while her mum is in hospital, and the two girls share secrets in the dark. Ella's mum has kissed Molly goodnight, and Molly becomes very upset. Molly was going to stay at our house while her mum was in hospital. We made a bed for her in my room on the spare mattress. There wasn't any extra space to walk around. We were like peas in a pod, Mum said. The first night, Mum came in and kissed us both goodnight. Not too much chatting or you'll never get up in the morning. The light flicked off and all the shapes in the room disappeared. I snuggled down. I was pleased Molly was here. In the quietness, I listened to the water pipes making their clanking noises on the landing. But then a snuffling noise started. I listened. It turned to long, choking sobs. Molly? I whispered. Are you all right? Some words I couldn't hear. Mum. Something about Mum? What's wrong? Your mum kissed me. She hugged me. I'll tell her not to. It's all right. But Molly was sobbing again. I don't want her to stop. Nobody kisses me goodnight. I stared down into the dark where Molly's voice was. So your mum doesn't... No, I always check she's okay, then just go to my bed on my own. Oh, a cold picture came into my head, Molly lying all still in a bed in her house. A big gulp rose inside me. Mum always tucks us in. She doesn't really tuck, she just calls it tucking us in and holds me, smelling of Mum, her jumper, her hair. Oh, Molly. I'm so sorry your mum can't. Molly's voice again. I think Mum got too sad when Dad died. I think that made her go strange. I was scared sometimes. I don't think she knew what she was going to do. She was like Mum, but somewhere else. I didn't tell anyone at school. I didn't want Mr. Hales knowing things. He might think Mum was mad. She isn't mad, Ella. Molly's voice turned into a whisper. Sometimes I did think she was mad, like when she made a big mess in the kitchen and I got back from school and there were eggs everywhere and I got so angry and I shouted at her and she just cried. I wanted to make you a cake, Molly. I wanted it to be waiting when you got back, but I couldn't make the eggs work. I think the sadness was just making her brain wrong. Molly was silent. The clanking noise from the pipes had stopped and our house was very quiet. It seemed to wrap itself round me warm. I couldn't bear thinking about the cake Molly's mum had tried to make. But she's getting better now, I asked. Molly sighed. Yes, the tablets make her sleepy. She still cries a bit, but she holds my hand more, and she looks at me, and it's like she can really see me now. And she asked me about school and my art. Before she had me, Mum used to do art too. She was a painter. That's why you love art. Yes, I don't know why Mum stopped. I'd like her to start again and be happy. Lying talking in the dark beside Molly was like talking to myself. I couldn't see her listening. I've got something to tell you too, I said. My dad's in prison. He stole some money. It was easy to tell Molly. When he first got in trouble, Mum went up to the school and talked to the headmistress, and I had to look after Jack in the playground. And I kept wondering what they were saying. I knew it was bad, though. I could hear Mum and Dad arguing when I was in bed. How could you do something so stupid? Mum kept saying, and Dad was crying. I did it for us. Did you tell anyone? Molly asked. No, only my friend Grace. I said that Dad was going to be in a big court case and she mustn't tell anyone, and she just said, don't worry. Dad kept hugging me and Jack so much. Who did he steal from? The bank where he worked. The court was to decide how to punish him. It took a whole week. Dad said he was guilty right from the start. He said he needed the money to pay someone back, and he hadn't told anyone, not even Mum. I think all my teachers knew by then. I hated them asking, are you all right, Ella? And your dad got taken away. He's been in prison for 6 months, but they're keeping him for 3 years. Molly was quiet. I stopped. The secret was gone, all smashed and gone away. I stared into the dark where Molly was. I write to my dad, I told Molly. I tell him you're my new friend. Molly's gentle voice came again. Do you go and visit him? Mum doesn't want us to. Molly sighed. But he's your dad. I lay in the warm, quiet dark and thought about Dad, his face in a happy grin. Dad running around the garden with Jack on his shoulders. Dad chasing me on a beach on holiday. So in that extract, Ella's discovering that Molly is someone she can share the most difficult feelings with. They're finding a way to reach out to each other. And I'm going to read you another little extract. And this is where Ella, immediately after, thinks about the way her dad used to make a pizza with crazy toppings when someone had had a bad day to lift their spirits. What's your dad like? He likes doing funny things. We've got this joke. Sometimes he used to make us a pizza jelly beaner if we'd had a bad day at school or someone was fed up. Dad loves jelly beans. But the pizza can have anything on it, stupid things like fruit or sweets. When Jack fell off his bike and bashed his nose, he had a hanky in one hand, pressing his cut nose, and did the toppings with the other. I smiled. Dad says there's nothing so bad that a pizza jelly beaner won't make it better. Could we make one? Molly's voice came out of the dark. I leaned up on one elbow. Now? I wanted to laugh. Well, your dad can't make one. But we could. Now our pizza looked like a planet, with craters and strange lakes and coloured pools. The marshmallows were still bobbly and sticky when I poked them. I began to pull bits off. Molly screwed up her nose and took a bite. It tastes weird. I like the raisins, not so sure about the chocolate eyebrows. Have you tried a grape? I giggled. Grapes with tomato and a marshmallow on top. Delicious. We clinked our drinks together, Molly and me. It was like a birthday, our silly pizza day for Dad. Let's always make pizza jelly beaner. Then Mum was there in the doorway, all tousled in her pyjamas. What are you two doing? Her voice had a hard edge. I looked at the mess of decorations on the worktop, little heaps, bags lying open, sprinkles around the kettle. I leapt from my chair. Sorry, Mum. Ella, this is... Mum's voice stopped. She rubbed the back of her hand across her eyes and sat down on one of the chairs. I see what you're doing. Her voice sank to a whisper. Ella. It's all right, Mum. Please don't be angry. We'll clear it all up. Mum's head sank down onto her hand. She sighed. You made a pizza jelly beaner. She smiled and held out her arms to hug me. He would have loved it, Ella. So the pizza, the making of the pizza, is another of these connecting moments. It's this connection that the girls are finding with each other. And the way I've used this in school is to ask the children to draw a pizza jelly beaner of their own in a kind of workshop setting. So I'd ask them about what their favourite pizza is, and then we'd think about how food can be happy, and it can be something to do with celebrations. And then we'd read the scene, we'd look at Ella and Molly and how they are together in the scene, and think about why that scene's important for them. And then go on to get the children to think about what they'd put on a pizza gelabina. So get them to share ideas with the person next to them. Maybe make a huge kind of one for everybody. Thinking about the idea of kind of a big pizza that celebrates life. So what good things can go on it? Things about birthdays, important moments, anything could be written on it. They can draw stuff on it. They can sketch things on this pizza too. So you end up with this huge representation of the things that are about celebration and about connection, really. This work in schools has been done by me, but it's also been done by class teachers and leaders in book groups. So we've tried to get children inspired by the idea of this pizza gelabina and to create their own personal response to it. And I think this is key with the empathy idea, is to find out where the children are coming from and what makes them sort of proud and interested in these themes. I've often been sent these pizza images, so I've got quite a collection of the pizza gelabina images. But I suppose the key thing really from what I've been saying to you is that watching Ella navigate her relationships allows the children to explore their own feelings and gives them this safe space for discussions around this empathy theme. So Ella changes, she develops sensitivity and a friendship which will support her. The ending of the book contains a letter to her dad in prison where Ella says she's realised you can still be happy even if there is some mess. And I think that's kind of like a key message in this character of Ella on the outside, that you can still be happy even if there is mess, is something that is kind of being conveyed in the story. It's something that I believe about children's lives, and it can sort of give them strength indirectly through the character. So that's why I'd nominate Ella, and that's why I'd nominate this moment. And that's how I would use it in school and sort of draw this together with the children's feelings and responses in that safe way.